Good morning and welcome to DC Today. I'm Del Walters. Anquinette Crosby will join us shortly. The president says it is time to put children back in the classroom. But what about the safety of the children? What about the safety of the teachers? What about the safety of parents? And in the black community, where so many of our children are raised by grandparents, what about the safety of grandma and grandpa? More on that in just a moment, but first, the latest. Joining us now from Baltimore is former Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. And Mayor, thanks for being with us. And I know you're working with the Biden campaign on education, and parents are freaking out. What does the former vice president want to do with regards to the issue of opening schools?
So first, thank you so much for having me here. I think it's so important that we are talking about this as, the summer is winding down and parents are ready to send their kids back to school, or hopefully ready to send their children back to school. And I'm just grateful to have the sound voice of former Vice President Joe Biden, because he understands that safety and science come first. And working with parents closely, schools have to make these decisions at the local level.
We are already seeing the ill effects of reopening the business community too soon. There are studies out that now show that children between the ages of 9 and 19 can spread the virus just like adults. We literally would be sending our children into a firing zone. How do we, as educators, as broadcasters, as former mayors in your case, inform the public as to what needs to happen before the schools are reopened?
Well, it is about taking responsibility and sharing information, and none of that we're seeing from our current president. And that's why I'm so encouraged when I see Joe Biden's plan. It's about making sure the science comes first, making sure that we are talking with parents about the risks and working with them to minimize those risks, and working with teachers. So first, it comes from, just being a straight talker, and that's what Joe Biden is. The science all across the country shows that, we have to do everything we can to wear masks, to focus on cleaning, to contact trace, and to make sure that we are tracking where our young people are. And that's, part of the plan.
Mayor, where you are, it points out the disparities in education. You have Baltimore City schools, you also have Baltimore County schools. You had white flight. How do we make sure that when kids go back to school, that they are going back to a level playing field? For instance, a lot of parents can send their children to private schools that have the money to provide the PPE, to give the disinfectant, to separate the students. But a lot of inner city schools across America don't have that luxury. How do we make sure that the former vice president understands the dilemma that a lot of black families are in?
I think the former vice president understands very keenly. I mean, that's why he's shining a light on the disparities, shining a light on the digital divide, and how with the digital divide that further negatively impacts the education attainability for marginalized people. He's shining a light on those things. And my hope is by him shining a light on it, we will be able to coordinate with the state government, the federal government, to look at ways to step into that gap. Right now, we know that minority families, families living in poverty are going to have great difficulty meeting the digital requirements for making sure that their children are going to be educated. That is without a doubt. Even families that have access to quality internet, many of them don't have enough devices to be able to make sure that our young people, their children, are on the devices or in the classroom, the digital classroom, at the same time. Those are the things that former Vice President Biden, he's very aware of, shining a light on, and with hopes that we can get some solutions from a coordination between all levels of government.
Mayor, I'm curious, what causes you to scream at the television set with regards to sending kids back into school? What questions are journalists not asking?
I think the journalists are asking the questions. I think that it frustrates me when too many journalists, and current company excluded, because you are the master of the follow-up. But it makes me scream at the screen when the question is asked, a lie is told, and then there's no follow-up. So to have a conversation with Education Secretary DeVos about, with her saying that children aren't spreading the disease, spreading coronavirus, and that's why it's so important that we get kids back in the classroom, and then not to ask the follow-up question. Well, okay, I'm positive you found some kids that are going to work as principals, as secretaries, administrators, teachers, substitutes, that are going to be cleaning the schools and feeding the kids too. Is that the plan, that it's going to be just, an all children environment? Because if that is not your plan, the fact that, the science may say that kids don't spread or aren't impacted as much is irrelevant. Mayor, you see, I'm screaming already. I'm like screaming.
And I'm glad I got you in the scream mode. We're going to take a break when we come back. I want to, we're going to hit it from the standpoint of parents. Parents need their kids to go back to school, but now may not be the time. How do we convince them to be patient, to wait? Stay with us. We'll be right back.